Hello everyone, Snipe Trading here. Today is Wednesday, April 28th, and I'll be going over my recap for today. So today I made a total of $434 between my two brokers. 612 of that were from my TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim account, and 178 loss in my Trade Zero, one trade. So I'll be going over each trade and my thought process behind each one of them. But before I do that, if you enjoy these contents and would like to listen more of these recaps, be sure to hit the subscribe and like button to support the channel. So I have a long list, so let's get started. So starting from the top here, my biggest winner of the day was CLOV, CLOV. So here I took a couple of trades. It had a nice breakout day in the daily chart, so you can see it's holding the daily 90 EMA trend, and it broke out here roughly around the 950 area and pretty much trended higher throughout the day. I went ahead and took my first short here with the inverted cup and handle on this spot. Actually had a bad fill on this trend line break, and only had 500 shares there, and then I worked it until the 5-minute 90 EMA test. It bounced right off the 5-minute 90 EMA and went lower, so I covered 300 shares here and 200 shares there, and I think that was 100 shares and then another 100 shares here when it went towards the 15-minute trend. So that was my morning trade on CLOV. I also took another trade after this fell flag here. You can see there was a spot, there was a flag break right here, and it fell, so I went ahead and looked for a inverted cup and handle too short, which was this. I went ahead and took that short and just covered there when it didn't immediately move. But that was a small win there. So my biggest win was this short over here, but before that I took a long trade. So this long trade kind of helped me decided that I was a little bit more confident in this short trade. The reason being, I took the long trade here after it held this higher low, and I took it there long, and I took some shares off there and took a stop there. So when that broke out and was showing weakness, I went ahead and looked for a trend line break, which was right here. So this was the trend line break. You can see lower highs, lower highs, lower highs forming, and I took the 1062 break. I kept adding, went ahead and broke, tried to bounce off VWAP, went ahead to add more, and it covers around the 1048s. Had a little bounce towards the 90 EMA, and then target of the hourly test, which was the 1035. Pretty much tapped it there. So that was my last covers around the 90 EMA on the hourly, and that was a $750 win there on CLOV. Right now it is trying to break. Had another fell flag, so had a decent move today, so we might see a pullback tomorrow. So definitely gonna continue watching CLOV into tomorrow's action. Next trade is USWS. So this one, I had a nice rejection on the, it was sub $1 stock. I had a nice rejection on the $1 mark, and then I saw it was extended on the 5-minute 90 EMA, and I was looking for a short signal on the 1-minute chart. So you can see a little inverted cup and handle forming, the lower highs, break of this 95 area, and tested the 5-minute 90 EMA there. So that's where I took most of my profit. Had 20,000 shares. I covered roughly at 93 average. I'm at 50,000 shares there, and I stopped the rest when it was kind of popping up here pretty sporadically. But that was a $323 win on USWS. Next trade was VXTR. So this was a $193 win. So on VXTR, there was this short here. It was a little bit extended on the 1 minute chart. Went ahead and looked for a short, inverted cup and handle, took that short there and covered right on the 5 minute 9 had a little bounce, tested the 15-minute trend, and I think it continued higher. Consolidated a little longer, and at the end of the day, there was a kind of flag break here that was going on. I took a flag long here, and then when it didn't go immediately there, I took it off, but I think a few minutes later, it started moving. But this was just a small little win here, but could admit it worked a little better. Had a nice average on that break. Went to the highs of 880 there. But that was that on VXTR for a total of 193. Next trade was ATOS, ATOS. So ATOS took two trades here. I think I took a short here, and then I took a loss, another short here, and took a small win there. So I was kind of break even on the name on ATOS. Later on the day, there was a 15-minute reversion. Took a short cover and then cover right here when it was trying to retest here. But it ended up retesting the hourly 90 trend, which was my target. But that was a $93 win there on ATOS. Next trade was OCGN. So OCGN was a long trade. There was like a little spot here that I was watching. I held support. I went long and sold into these pushes. Pretty much just a break-even trade all around here. Didn't really go far from there, and I think at the after hours there was some PR news, and it spiked up. So that's OCGN, break even. Next trade was UXIN. UXIN was a short. This was a short here on the extension on the 1 minute time frame. Ended up breaking, testing the 5 minute and then the 15-minute for the target there, which was a pretty decent win. But I think I stopped out a little too early there. Next trade was XXII. So XXII also was looking for a 1 minute reversal on the 5 minute. It broke the inverted cup and handle momentarily there and recovered. So I went ahead and took it off for a small loss, $29, and it continued higher before breaking down. Next trade is MUDS, MUDS. Also was another trade in the morning, another inverted cup and handle. You can see the little wick there. So it felt like it was a short little trap. It ended up taking me out there and ended up testing the 5 minute 90 shortly after for a $30 loss. Next trade was BNGO. So BNGO had a nice little flag here, and I was watching this for the $7 break. It didn't break $7, but you can see that this resistance here became support, and it was a nice looking flag. I think if had it break $7, I think this would have been a nice maybe higher day break on BNGO. So I attempted here when it was getting tight on this range. I ended up not breaking out, so I stopped out there for a $44 loss, small loss there before it fell there. That was BNGO. Next trade was GALT, GALT. So GALT was a potential 5 minute reversal here. Ended up not breaking down on the 5 minute chart and ended up holding. So I actually had to take a stop there at a $400 loss, and it ended up trying to break highs, but end up failing on this trend line where there's a potential reversal there to the 50-minute chart. That was GALT for $106 loss. Next trade was AHT for another loss here. So AHT was actually multiple losses in here. Clear the chart. First one would being this trend line break. There's 5 days, little inverted cup and handle. I took that, it didn't go too far down, and I took a stop there, and I think this was for like a $80 loss or so. And then I tried again off this 5-minute reversal, looking for the 5-minute target. It ended up holding and flagging out there, which took me out for another stop loss there. And that was probably like $100 loss, so I was like down like 150 on AHT. And then I took a few more stop losses later in the day, so I felt like this was a little more difficult and was like a more slow grinding move. I took another stop loss here, trying to short that. Ended up break even on this trade, and then I was looking for a long here, which I just took off for a loss. So it was pretty much multiple trades here that kind of built up over time, and I think overall I think I should avoid this stock, since pretty much every time I trade it, both sides, I mean, I'm not really successful at it, and it might be due to the higher float and the way it moves. Not easy to predict. So that's AHT for $239 loss. And the next trade was HEXO. So this was another big loss. My biggest loss of the day, 273. Also another difficult one. I thought it was extended and maybe we can get a reversal there. I went ahead and took a short, and then it popped up, hit high days, and then finally there was the reversal. So my timing was off there. And then I tried another one on this kind of 15-minute reversal. So you can see lower highs forming, lower highs. I tried attack that, and then maybe you can get an hourly reversal or hourly target around 630s. I ended up not breaking down and flagging me out for a stop there. So that's where I stopped out for $273. Actually took I think 150 here, and then another $100 loss here or so, for 273. And then my trade on trade 0 was BTX. So BTX, I took a short as well, and it was at this position around the $36 break, right here for this trend line break. And you can see lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And then I was looking for a 50-minute target. So I end up going to 35, and I held 200 shares, which was a mistake. Or actually it might have been, I think this was the spot. And then I actually tried to get it filled here. I got 10 shares filled, and then I ended up stopping out for a loss. Actually, I don't think this was the spot. Okay, I think it's over here. So the spot is over here that I took. So I took this short here. So looking for a 15-minute reversal. I end up breaking down a little bit here, and I try to get filled a little bit there at 200 shares. And then it kind of popped up and stopped me out on that flag on the 5-minute chart. So I took a stop there for 178 loss on my trade 0 account on the short. But yeah, it's I think this was a decent reversal here later. But all in all, best trade was a CLOV trade. On both sides here, felt like it was 4 winners when I took this. So took a short and then another short, and I was confidently shorting here because I was also on the long side and I flipped short. So I was on the long side here on this flag break. It failed, so I understand that people that were also long, similar to myself, is going to stop out. So I stopped out early there and I flipped short, knowing that the flag has already broken, so there's no more long potential. And I was confidently shorting here, sizing in a little bit bigger, and looking for that hourly target, which it pretty much tapped here. So all in all, overall, we'll say $434 win between my two brokers. It seems like the market is back on the menu, and we can see a lot more stocks that are running, and I definitely need to refocus myself on the long side, since I was kind of blinded by the short side the last 2 months due to the low liquidity in the market, or especially in the market, small caps. Yeah, if you enjoy this content, be sure to hit the subscribe and like button to support the channel, and to see more future videos similar to this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.